It seems like the most inconvenient problems on your car always wait to the holidays, right when you're enjoying the holidays with family. They could have done it all year long, but no, only on Thanksgiving Day. Let's get started. This is a local customer not too far from here. We've done a lot of work for them. We really enjoy doing business with them. This is a 2017 Buick LaCrosse with the 3.6 V6. I tell you guys not to buy those. And again, the newer 2020 and newer, I don't know if they fixed a lot of the problems, but these are definitely in the year range of timing chain problems. Luckily, they haven't had that issue yet. This one, they were enjoying Thanksgiving. They said they were going to family's house. The radiator fans would just run and run. They turned the key off, take the key out, go inside, and it would run all the way until the battery was almost dead. They got a battery charger on it and got it charged back up. It's still running, still going and going and going and going. This is a point where it's like, why couldn't it have done this 2 or 3 days ago or a week or two ago? I could have got this to the shop and got this taken care of. No, it had to happen on Thanksgiving, unfortunately. This customer literally lives 3 blocks from this shop. But it only happened when they left the 3-block area, when they're far away from home. Now it'll act up. That's the way it always goes, isn't it, guys? It's so annoying. I know it is. It happens to everyone. It makes sense the customer unplugged the battery because they didn't want their battery to go dead so they could get home. But when they did that, unfortunately, we lost any chance of getting any codes. It erased them all. They brought it in today. It's not acting up because we haven't driven it long enough. It just literally went 3 blocks here. And he says it's currently not acting up, but I don't want to get caught out like that again. I need to get this fixed. So we'll take a look around this vehicle and we'll dive in and show you what we found and how it's a lot more complicated to replace than even what I thought it should be. So here's the front of this LaCrosse. It does have a really nice look to it, and this one's in very good shape. The paint and everything looks like brand new, basically. It's got some nice, kind of a gray colored aluminum wheels on it, fairly new tires. But it does look like every other car on the planet. It seems like no matter what brand you buy anymore, this could be a Ford Fusion, it could be a LaCrosse, it could be a Mercedes. It's hard to even tell anymore. As I mentioned, there's not much to speak of on the outside. It's basically in brand new condition. They take very good care of their vehicles. Let's hop into the interior and take a look inside, and then we're going to dive into what in the world happened with this radiator fan issue.
It's hard to read, but it does say 82,851 miles in there in our all-digital dash. But it's looking nice, and you're going to be quite impressed with this interior review today. Dash up above is in great condition. I love the kind of a taupe brown color. We have some lovely faux wood trim with more of our leather, and down below we have some ivory. So lots of colors and different designs going on. Have a large infotainment screen with winged by 2 HVAC vents. We've got some controls for our HVAC system. And then we have our gear selector below that. Do have a nice little hidey hole spot here. And look, let me tell you, they keep this car clean. Look at that cup holder. Aren't you envious? But closes and stays shut. Have a nice little spot there for whatnots. And if we open up our center console, now we've found some of their stuff. We've got some gloves and pens and sunglasses, what everyone puts in their center console. The seats are in ivory leather, and they do have a nice little cushion to them. They are not overly hard, and they have no bolster because this is a Buick. As we look at our door card, you'll see that kind of that taupe from on the dash curves over and wraps around to that door panel as well. So looking really nice over there. And again, that ivory leather is showing very nice. No marks, no gouges, nothing going on. Because this is a large sedan, we actually have, look at that, leg room. I know, aren't you envious of that as well? But again, looking good. This is an older couple, so I'm not sure how many people actually sit in their back seat. They don't have small children any longer, so it's probably not used as much as many other cars are. Headliner's in great shape as well. So back at the steering wheel, we have lots of different controls and buttons and knobs and switches going on there, but nothing too complicated. It is a Buick after all. So enough of this interior view. Let's get this on the lift and see what's going on underneath.
So being this is an American car and the Focus wasn't maximum aerodynamics for high speed running or anything like that, it's just a family car to get you from point A to point B. We do not have a belly pan. There's no belly pan here at all. It's all open. Actually, a lot of cars in the 80s and 90s didn't have belly pans. I kind of like that. It makes it easy to get to work on everything. I don't have to take a bunch of stuff apart. Let's do a quick inspection on the bottom. Here's our little engine oil pan. This is the lower pan. It's a little sheet metal one, and the upper pan is aluminum. There's our oil filter. Everything looks good there. I don't see any big leaks going on. Our cooler lines are not leaking. Take a look at these brakes. They got like 80% remaining. Strut is dry. Sway bar link is good. CV boots are dry. And nothing loose. Looks like same thing over here. 80% brakes. CV boots are good. Sway bar link is good. Strut is dry. Nothing loose. Most of the trouble for these 3.6 engines are actually on the front of the engine, but it's kind of weird to describe. It's actually the passenger side of the car, which is the front of the engine. You can take a look here. That's where the timing chains are, behind that timing cover. And as you can see, there's not very much room there. I don't know how many timing chain jobs I've quoted on these 3.6 engines, only to be told I didn't pay that much for the car. I'm not doing it. I'm going to go trade it in. That happens all the time. And I get it. It makes sense. So let's continue the inspection. Here's our exhaust. Everything's intact. Being that they're older couple, they haven't hacked off their muffler and put cherry bombs on it. Everything looks good here at the fuel tank. Really, everything looks like brand new almost. Brakes are 90% back here. Shocks are good. Sway bar link is good. Nothing loose. Sway bar link is good. Shocks are good. Brakes are good. Nothing loose. To add a little bit of sportiness to the car, they did add 1 into 2 exhaust to make it look like it has duals. Actually, it just appears that way. It actually doesn't have duals. Before we drop it down, I wanted to mention, I see that the charcoal canister is right here out in the open, and I think it's such a bad design because you hit a piece of debris or a piece of wood in the road and it comes along and it just breaks that thing. You're going to have to replace the canister. Those things aren't 20 or 30 bucks. They're usually $300, $400, $500 for these charcoal canisters. It's kind of a weird place for it where it could just get broken so easily. Let's focus on what is wrong with this car, and that is the fans up front. Let's go see where they're at. So the fans, which there are 2, are actually located right behind the radiator here. And you can see they don't look to be damaged or any issues going on. They just run all the time, apparently, is what the customer said. Let's get this thing on the ground. Let's talk about those fans. So sadly, like I mentioned, the customer disconnected the battery, which any codes or any possibility of any issues that we could see on a scan tool were fully erased. I don't blame them. I kind of get it. They had to do it so they could get home and not have a dead battery. But you got to keep that in mind if you're dealing with a check engine light or some other issue. As soon as you unplug your battery, you may lose all of those pieces of data that your mechanic can use to figure out what's wrong with your car. We did actuate the fans with the scan tool. They come on, they go off. They don't see any issue there. But then we noticed whenever we go road test that it really wouldn't get very warm. It kind of would just get a little lukewarm and never get any warmer than that. So that's when I used Identifix again and typed in fan staying on. That's all I did. And let me show you what I found. Customer concern, the coolant temperature gauge is stuck on cold, which we saw that it was a little cooler than normal. And the coolant fan seemed to run all the time. And it shows 257 cases of the thermostat being bad. Let me show you guys. Replace the thermostat, thermostat, thermostat. It just keeps going page after page. There's like 30 pages here. Just thermostat, thermostat. So it's very obvious this is a common issue with this vehicle. It happens so much. There's pages of it, documentation there. Did you think that's what it would be when I mentioned the fans stay on all the time? It's a really strange strategy that the computer has when it sees the engine not reaching all the way proper temperature or going over temperature, it kind of just freaks out and says, I'm not sure why temperatures are not doing like they're supposed to, so to be safe, I'm just going to run the fans all the time. And it just runs and runs and runs and runs the fans. Because it's thinking, I better do that so it doesn't overheat. It's not really a very good strategy because it's not overheating. It's not even getting warm enough. But it's all caused by the thermostat. Now we're going to jump in and show you in the engine bay where it's at, and something that actually shocked me. Here is our 3.6 V6. I figured, okay, I'm used to the Buick 3.8. The thermostat is a 20-minute job, in and out, and you're done. That is absolutely not the case on these 3.6 engines. Let me show you where the thermostat is. So you can kind of see in the middle of the screen there's a little ball shape. It's metal. It's in the center of the engine underneath the intake.
So, Wizard, is Buick taking their design ideas from the Northstar V8 starter location?
Everything under the intake? It seems that way. So I ordered a new thermostat knowing that's what it is. It's not getting warm enough, and we see with the data that's what's wrong for sure. And this came in. I'm like, this whole thing is the thermostat? So I looked up the data, looked up the labor hours on this. I'm thinking, okay, maybe an hour, 30 minutes an hour. You know, this can't be that bad. 5.5 hours. The intake comes off, the injectors come out, all this stuff comes apart to get to this assembly. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. This is gonna be like $800 or something for a silly thermostat. This is ridiculous. But then I did some more research and talked to a friend who runs a shop. All they work on is GM vehicles. He said, oh, Wizard, the pipe comes out of the thermostat. And I said, really? So I pulled these apart. I was like, oh, okay. So what we can do is to save this customer some money, we can disassemble the pipe way down here. You can see the hose hooks to the pipe right there by the air box. We undo this bolt and wiggle and pull the whole pipe out. Then all we're dealing with was this, and we can wiggle this out without removing all those parts. So we'll pass those savings on to the customer, and I know other shops wouldn't. They would say 5.5 hours, boom, you're getting paid 5.5 hours. So we'll get the thermostat replaced, and it'll make the odd radiator fan situation go away. The computer will see the temperatures getting to the proper reading where it likes to see it, and it will no longer turn on the fans endlessly trying to save itself from something that's not even happening. So, if you're curious what kind of tools we're going to use to work on this Buick or any other car in the shop, check our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We get a small cut, and we really appreciate it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button because we have so many more cool videos to come. Thanks for watching.